this is actually my favorite coffee shop, and it's Diane's. And one of the things that I love about Diane's is service, food, and atmosphere. So this is where I chose to interview Natalie. And I'm always a little bit early because I like to be prepared. And she's about to come. She's coming in about 15 minutes. You know, this is a conversation between two friends, and I wanted to find out more about her travels. The good, the bad, and the ugly, because it's not always roses. And for her to connect with you and for you to understand if you wanted to have a life full of travel, not necessarily like hers, but one that, you know, you planned for it and you were able to execute your dream, then this would be the conversation to listen in on. How are you? Good, you?
Good, so good to see you.
I know.
Oh my God, I'm here.
On time?
Yeah, on time.
So you know Natalie from all the weekly blogs and the photographs of the stunning places she has been to. But she has been in Trinidad for the past what? Week. For the past week, and we had an opportunity to spend a lot of great time together. And I wanted you to sort of get like a flesh and blood approach, you know, kind of get to know her a little bit more intimately beyond all the great stunning images and blogs that she writes, the blog posts that she writes for us. So Natalie, I don't know if you remember. Okay, so we worked, a little bit of background, right? So we worked in TV6. I was a journalist and you were in production, right? And you know, you would always pass up and down the corridor, but I remember the first thing that cemented, and I don't know if you remember this, the first thing that cemented our friendship, for me at least, was that it was either Valentine's Day,
yellow roses,
and you brought 12 yellow roses. And I'm like, oh my God, who does this? Like, only somebody who is like fabulous and fantastic and generous would bring me 12 yellow roses.
I think at the time, I can't remember the exact details, but I think you were going through something.
Yes.
You know, I think you were like, it wasn't the best period for you, and it was just it was an occasion.
Yeah.
And I said, no, this would be nice to cheer her up.
Yeah.
And just, your energy have always been
Yeah.
so bubbly, and so I thought this would have been a good
And
idea.
it did.
That was it.
And
after
did.
that, yeah.
And just great sense of being in tune and being empathetic, which I find that you have taken us on this journey with a sense of understanding and appreciating cultures. You know, so to me that dozen yellow roses has turned into a series of footprints you have left when you've gone to countries and appreciated their cultures and then brought those stories back to us.
Yeah.
So, but your interest in travel didn't just start now. You didn't just, have a partnership with somebody you love and you have a child together and you decide to travel. This is like way before, right?
Yeah, my mother, even from a child, she would always make sure, like every vacation, we would go somewhere.
Yeah.
And for her, it was important. I think she saw it as equal as education.
Yeah.
You know, she never wanted us left out of the conversation if a destination or place would to come up.
Did she travel herself?
No, I wouldn't say she was a traveler at all.
No.
No, I don't think she had the opportunity.
Yeah.
You know, but once we were at like 7 or 6, she would make sure every summer we would go somewhere new.
Yeah.
You know, so we could have that experience.
Yeah.
And so I suppose that started the whole love of travel. And even till today, as if when you say, every time I would go somewhere, it's a place I want to live. So I remember the first time I went to Barbados, and I couldn't have been more than 8 years old.
Yeah.
And I thought, wow, I would just love to live here. It was just so different. And I still do it today. And my partner,
So like you would go to Kenya and you would say,
exactly.
I want to live here.
And he looks at me, he's like, how many places do you really want to live? And she said, I think when I go to a place and if the vibe is, kind of, I get like a tribe feeling.
Yeah.
I'm like, could I live, I could see myself living there.
Yeah.
So it's not always about going to look at the place. I always like envision myself.
Yeah.
I put myself in place into the place.
Yeah, yeah.
And so since I was 8 years old, I was doing that.
Yeah.
So if I really did do that, there'll be so many places I would have lived.
And you also traveled for work, right? So you've always been fortunate to work in like multinational organizations that afforded you to travel. So that love for travel, because sometimes we travel as children and then our lives take a particular trajectory or turn and it kind of fizzles out, even though we still love it. Life, the way we are our situation doesn't permit it.
Yeah.
But your jobs allow this love to continue.
Yeah, I think I can't remember not having a job where travel, even if it was to the Caribbean,
Yeah.
wasn't involved.
Yeah.
And my last job before I left Trinidad, it was all of South America.
Mm-hmm.
So I learned to appreciate, and I learned about South America through that job.
Yeah.
You know, and so that was good too. I think I hit almost every country in South America. And the good thing is that I would be able to stay a while. So
Yeah.
it wasn't just I would go do
So,
business.
so that was before like economic crisis, and now companies have you. You know, you go in, you
Yeah,
get out.
yeah,
Like the meeting
yeah.
happens at finishes at 2, and you're leaving
Yeah.
on 3. It wasn't like that
No,
when
it
you
wasn't like that,
started.
because what I would try to do, if I would take 2 weeks out of my year, and on 2 occasions, you know, 2 separate times,
Yeah.
and I would visit South America, and I would do like 6 countries in
Yeah.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
So therefore, you have a few weekends in
Yeah.
there, and then it's at a different pace, and if you just go in and out.
Yeah.
And I thought for me, for my work schedule, that was more disruptive.
Yeah.
To go in 1 week, go in next, you know,
Yeah.
and
So you get
spread
it
it
all
out.
done
Yeah.
in a go.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
the vibe and the energy is there, because
Yeah.
you know you're doing something, and
Yeah.
it stays, instead of you have to keep coming back
Yeah.
in and out,
Yeah.
and that takes a lot.
Yeah.
So I would do it like in 2 weeks time periods, and then you get to stay longer, visit the
Yeah.
place, see people.
Yeah.
So yes, so my last job was a lot of travel.
So could you have, okay, so given that from childhood into teens into being a young adult, you know, could you have fallen in love with someone who didn't love travel as much as you do?
Yes, but it would have. Yes, but the but would be like, even when I was in Trinidad, I would see every part of Trinidad.
Yeah.
Whether I was running, because I was an avid runner,
Yeah.
or hashing or hiking or something. So yes, I could have, but I had to be doing something and
Yeah.
seeing something
Yeah.
different. So it could have meant, it could have been going over to Tobago for
Yeah.
the weekend, and you go up one of the falls,
Yeah.
and you know, or you go into the forest in the northern rain, or a bat
Yeah.
cave, or a mud volcano.
Yeah.
But even if I were home, I'm still exploring. So it was
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
There was no period.
So
where
there's this,
exploration.
so there's, and you're sailing as well,
Yeah,
and you're
exactly.
exploring, and you're running, and
Yeah.
you're hiking, and so there was always this need to always be
do something. Yeah.
on the move.
Yeah.
Now, not kind of, some people find joy in being still.
Yeah.
That wasn't your vibe.
At some point, but if I think to my core, stillness is great, and I could appreciate that too.
Yeah.
But I like to be out doing. I mean, you know, I'm a verb. I used to say that I'm a verb. I'm a doing thing.
Yeah.
So I'm a hiker, a runner, a sailor. I'm a verb.
Yeah.
You know, and
Yeah.
that's where I get my joy from
Yeah.
being
Yeah.
outside.
So you've traveled to how many countries?
Oh,
like,
I don't know.
like, have you ever counted?
Sometimes I do, but I've lost count.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And what has been like, I mean, there's so many experiences, right? But what has been something that has touched you in ways that was transformative? Like, is there any particular experience that stands out for you that touched you in a way that completely transformed a particular way of thinking or being or doing?
Yeah. Well, I won't be able to pinpoint one experience, but what has impacted me is when I go to a country and you see how people have adapted, the adaptability of humans.
Yeah, the resilience.
The resilience and adaptability of humans. So,
Yeah.
for instance, when you go to Kenya and I see kids as young as my daughter, 7, 6 years old, and it's hot, hot sun, 40 degrees, and they're walking barefoot.
Oh, that looks delicious.
Wow.
Thank you.
On the hot streets, and they go into school, and there's no meals, and they cook at school. Or when I go to like one of the floating villages, either on the Amazon or where we just came back from Asia, from Thailand, and you see how the people live and how they adapt, and the resilience of season after season. And I think that has been the most transformative for me in terms of travel, and the appreciation that, and it trickles down into my own life.
Yeah.
Okay, today the hot water isn't working, or the
Yeah.
electricity goes, so what?
Yeah.
There are people that have, like, I remember the last time we went to Kenya, I was speaking to like the pool guy, and he was asking me about my daughter Martina, and I said, well, she, in her school they offer extracurricular activities in their pools and stuff like that, so she goes swimming. And he says to me, like, all the kids he knows, they've never even seen a pool.
Yeah.
So things like that we take for granted, and you will always want more and more and more, but people get by with so little.
Yeah. That's so interesting because we spent Diwali together.
Right.
And Martina, who's your daughter, is in a pool. It's a above surface pool, right? She's been to some of the grandest pools in the world, and yet she was having the very best time on that Diwali evening. When it comes to your daughter and understanding, she comes from such a place of privilege. She travels with you and Mikele all over the world. Have you seen that so what ability within her?
Yeah, so this weekend we took her down the islands. One of my friends invited us. So she was standing on the pier and she was fishing. And it was a good time for them because as soon as they dropped the rod in and
They got a
hook in,
fish.
the fishes came out, right? And they would just keep going and she was super excited. And then she turns to Nina, who's my friend, she says, "This is better than Venice." You know, and I'm like, really? You know what I mean? Down the islands on a pier is better than Venice.
Yeah.
And I think for her, it's not about, because sometimes we do that, because it's Paris or Venice, you know, we put some worth to it.
Yeah.
But she puts worth on the experience.
Yeah,
And,
and
not
that's
the
what
title.
right, and that's what travel is, right?
Yeah.
So travel is about the collection of memories and experiences in specific places that sort of inform and transform.
Yeah. So
yeah?
it's not about, okay, I'm going to Paris this weekend, I'm going to London.
Although
or
that's
New York.
good, there's
No, it's
nothing
great.
wrong,
No,
right?
it's
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
But you must focus on the experience.
Yeah.
And what you could get out, you know, what it means for you, and then how is it going to impact you and maybe to impact others as well.
Yeah.
But just to say that you're going somewhere for good, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
No.
So you've gone first world and you've gone third world and everything that's in between. And yet when we think about travel, we don't necessarily think about going to places that look like us or that are poorer than us, poorer, and I'm putting that in inverted commas. They made me richer in spirit, or in culture. How do you go, if you had to advise someone to go about selecting a destination and not the typical, okay, let's go to New York City.
Right.
What would you say would be some of their top things they need to consider when choosing a destination that doesn't necessarily come to mind as the place to go
A little
to?
bit off the beaten track.
Yes, yes. Oh, that's just different.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
You have to look at your interests too. Okay, if you're a shopper and you like the bags slung on your hand.
Yes,
and
nothing wrong with that.
No, nothing is wrong with that.
Yeah.
But then you have typical destinations that you go to.
Yeah.
However, if you become a little bit more open, if you're open to other experiences, you have to ask yourself, am I an outdoor person?
Yeah.
You know, then do I like the cold? Maybe you want to do skiing for the first time.
Yeah.
You know, so I think you have to look inside yourself, and at different stages you're always open to different experiences. So you might wake up out of bed one day and say, oh, you know, I've never tried skiing, I've never ridden a camel, or I've never gone to the desert, I need to listen to the silence of the desert at night. So I think what drives you is just you have to look inside and then sort of ignite that and see what destination will match that. So it doesn't always have to be the typical. Yes, it could be just, or have a dream, you know what I mean? Where do you dream of going? Where do you think you as a person will be most comfortable or most excited, or you'll find your greatest adventure? And sometimes you just have to think in terms of those little phrases and then pinpoint a destination and find that there. You know?
I want to focus on that word dream because I think when it comes to travel, it really is a dream for many people. And many people will say they want to, they would love to. They look at your blog posts and your photographs and want to do it, but it still remains a dream. How would you suggest they go about activating the dream? Because travel really is about planning, right? More so than anything else. Yeah.
Oh, years ago,
And it's about planning money.
Yeah, and that was going to be my start. Because years ago, I worked in a mutual fund company here. And we would also encourage people, again, go back to your dreams. If your dream was to own a house, to have a car, to go on your dream vacation. And that's how, first of all, let's start with the money, because a lot of it, that's a big obstacle for a lot of people.
And because it costs a lot. It costs.
It could cost a lot.
Or it could cost not so much.
It could cost not so much. Because
so I want to know about that. Okay.
Because, let me go back to the cost, because a lot of destinations now, because you have online, trips and planning advice and stuff, you could cut a lot of the cost, and some destinations are cheaper than you think also. I think sometimes we just say, oh, it's going to cost so much without actually costing it out.
So like my friend invited me to Shanghai and I am going, and I remember telling someone that in the gym, and she said, oh, you're going to spend $40,000 on that trip.
Yeah.
And when she said it, I'm like, oh my God, that's it. But really, when I started to check, it was nowhere close to the amount.
Yeah.
So there's the assumption, is what you're
there's
saying.
Always the assumption.
Yeah.
You know, for instance, we've just come back from Asia. Asia, depending on where you go,
Yeah.
like Cambodia,
Yeah.
some parts of Thailand, they're very not inexpensive, but affordable.
Yeah.
The food, the hotels, and all that. And I met on the way this time a young girl. She was Nigerian. She was Nigerian, living in Ireland, working in South Korea. You know, so she was touring Asia, and she was doing this on a shoestring budget.
Yeah.
Right where, you know, just she was on her phone with the apps,
Yeah.
and she was getting hotels. She didn't like the hotel she was in, so right there she said my budget was like €11 a night.
Yeah.
And she was getting decent hotels to
Yeah.
stay. So I think you have to be creative. It's also where and creativity comes
Yeah.
in. If you want a 5-star experience
Yeah.
and the full works, then we're talking of something totally different. But
Yeah.
if you're interested in travel
Yeah.
and experiences, there are ways to do it without putting out $40,000.
Right, and not being a backpack traveler, because
No,
many
and not-
people
yeah.
who are over 35 are not interested in being
Yeah.
backpack travelers, right?
No, but there's an in-between.
Yes, yes.
You know, from the
yes,
5-star
from the
lux
luxury to the backpack traveler, there's something that's affordable to
Yeah,
all at
exactly.
every price point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I think saving in advance. You may have to save 6 months. You may have to save for a year for your dream vacation.
Yeah.
So maybe you can't do it right now, but put a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, and I would say first find out what the cost is. Call a travel agent.
Yeah, and
If
there's
you
so
don't, can't do
many.
it yourself.
Right. So great point, travel agents, because there's now well, not now. It's been around for a while. There's so many travel sites that enable you to go compare,
Yeah.
check out prices and so forth. But do you book online or do you use a travel agent? And why? One or the other? Why?
Yeah, we usually use a travel agent.
Why? I thought the travel agents were like dinosaurs.
No.
Forgive me for all those travel agents out there watching.
No, most of our trips are done through a travel agent.
Why?
I think, for instance, if we go into a remote, let's say we go to Oman. Oman is not, the information I have with Oman is what I get from the internet.
Right.
A travel agent, however, will have detailed information or should have detailed information on hotels, maybe firsthand. So they're able to say, okay, listen, this may have good rates online, but the spa that you're looking for, that you really want to go there for, or the tour to this particular place is better done here. So I don't think you could beat down the face-to-face interaction
Yeah.
and the experience. You know, it's great to get, and it's good to double check.
Yeah.
I'm not saying online is not the
Yeah.
easy it is.
Yeah.
And it makes for faster travel, and it's
Yeah.
caused a spurt in the growth of travel.
Yeah.
But there is also a place for travel agents.
Is that more expensive? Do you pay a fee to a travel agent
You do,
to
but-
find out the information?
Yeah, but it's not prohibitive.
Right.
This fee is not prohibitive.
Yeah.
If you get a good travel agent, the information that you get.
Yeah.
Again, I'll reference when we went to Oman.
Yeah.
Again, it was a place that the religion was different. It was close to Yemen, which was at a
Yes,
kind of-
in turmoil.
In turmoil.
Yeah.
So again, you want to be safe with your family, and you want to get first-hand information. The travel agent did a book, not just an itinerary of pages.
Yeah.
We had a complete book with our names on it, with all the places of interest, our full schedule. So every day we just turn to the date.
And it was all planned
and
out
it's all planned out
at an affordable price.
at an affordable price. And then you can negotiate.
Yeah.
And if you don't find a good tour guide at your cost here, you can negotiate. Maybe you can't get a personal tour guide,
Yeah.
but you could go with a small group.
Yeah.
You know, and there are ways that you could cut costs and still not
Yes.
cut the experience.
Yes. Yes.
Right?
You travel a lot you travel exclusively with your family. Is that
Yeah,
correct?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Since Martina was born.
Yeah. What is that experience like? Many people have some kind of trepidation about traveling with their children.
Yeah.
How would you advise that they do that and still have fun,
Yeah.
still be a couple, but still have a family experience?
Yeah. Well, it goes back to the same foundation that when you're planning a trip, remember they're individuals too, your children, and so you find out what they want to see as well. So
Yeah.
you have to sort of incorporate the whole family into the trip.
Yeah.
For Martina, I mean, she's 7 now, and even when she was younger, now I can get away with a little bit more.
Yeah.
Because her endurance is a little bit better. But when she was really small, we would take a few days, maybe 2 days out of a trip, and just make it just for her. So if there is a museum
Yeah.
that I would think she would like,
Yeah, so it's a kids museum. It's
a
not
kids-
about
no,
you
it's a
or
kids
Mikele.
museum,
Yeah.
or it's an aquarium,
Yeah.
or it's a theme park.
Yeah.
So that day she builds her own memories.
Yeah.
Because okay, if I take you to Cairo
Yeah.
and we go to the Egyptian museum,
Yeah.
she's just gonna walk through. You
Yeah.
know, they're fascinating things that she would look at that are
Yeah.
grander than life.
Yeah.
But if I take her to like a theme park
Yeah.
on that day, she's probably going to match the Cairo Museum with the theme park, and
Yeah.
you'll have a fuller memory of
Yeah,
the whole
I
thing.
love that. I love
Yeah.
how
So
what
she
you
has
say
to build
about building her own
Yeah,
memories.
she
Because
has to build
sometimes
her
in
own.
family travel, the little one or the children get neglected because it's about the adults' vacation, right?
Yeah.
But I love how you've connected her special experience and associated with things that she loves to do.
And they like reading or art.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, they may have something. It could be anything. Working
Yeah.
with their hands. You may go to a workshop.
Yeah.
Just for them to see artisans and work.
Yeah.
And it could be the smallest things that would catch their interest.
Yeah.
But you make it part of your trip, so
Yeah.
you keep them engaged.
Yeah.
And again, memories are important for
Yeah.
them. They're not going to remember everything.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
they're going to remember key things and then interacting with people
Yeah.
in different cultures. And I think that's what the key thing for me is about.
Yeah. You don't reason you're not well. You're connected because the internet brings us so much closer together, but you're disconnected from the people that you love the most, except
Yeah.
your nuclear family, and you travel the world, and we see these gorgeous pictures, and we see these amazing stories that you tell so well. Do you ever get lonely?
Oh yeah, it's tough. It's tough. Last 8 years we've moved 3 countries, and
3 continents too, is it?
well,
2 continents.
Two in Europe.
Yeah.
Right. So from one continent to the next, and I think Milan is similar. You know, it's very different for me to Paris. You
Yeah.
know? So yeah, and it takes gaps. It takes chunks out of your life. Moving does. Because I say, if you're moving to a new city or a new place, a new country, and you don't speak the language,
Yeah.
I'm telling you, based on my experience, you're going to probably take 2 years of your life to get localized. That means to get a few friends,
Right.
you know, to make sure the kids are happy and they have their own friends and foundation.
Yeah.
That you stop getting lost.
Yeah. So there's no like 3-month snapback when you move.
If you know the place,
Yeah.
if you're familiar with the place,
Yeah.
if you're single, you
Yeah.
know, and you just need a bar or
Yes.
a fun place
Yeah.
to go to,
Yeah.
you could do it in 3 months.
Yeah.
But if you're moving with your family, and to get everybody comfortable, because you're the last person to be comfortable.
Yeah.
You know, my partner goes there for work. He has to have enough space when he goes to a new place to prove himself all over
Yes.
again. To start.
So it's hard for him too.
It's hard for her, it's hard for everybody.
Yeah.
It's hard for Martina. She leaves friends behind.
Yeah.
She leaves her familiar environment behind. And she also has to start from scratch.
Yeah.
You know, so it takes a lot. And of course, the loneliness comes in because, like, when I left Paris, I left my tribe. I found a great group of Trinis in
Yeah.
France, and they became like family because
Yeah.
we share experiences.
Yeah.
You know, and you find that a lot with expats.
Yes.
So you share the experience, and you saw that this time you spent together, you all grow
Yeah.
and do things together.
Yeah.
And then so I had to leave them and go to Milan.
Yeah.
And then you have to start from scratch. You
Yeah.
have to start from scratch
Yeah.
all over again.
Yeah.
So it takes a lot.
Yeah.
It is lonely because if the first 2 years you're looking for friends, not really, I don't want to make it like a friend, but you're looking.
Yeah, no, but I mean friends, they're essential for a happy existence, right?
Yeah. You're looking
yeah.
for a little group.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you may have to join
Yeah.
groups to
Yeah.
get friends as well.
Yeah.
So it's not that you're gonna sit at home
Yeah.
and people are gonna come knocking at your
Yeah.
door. It's an
On the contrary.
no, it's an active process.
Yeah.
So you have to. I may have to join a language group. I may
Yeah.
have to join a dance group.
Yeah.
Even with Martina, I have to put into different activities to interact with people.
Yeah, and because cultures are so different, because we could be in this coffee shop and a stranger could be in that coffee shop, and we could turn around and that stranger has become a friend, and
Yeah.
we may say, "Come on over," but that's not the same
No,
in
it's not
the
like that
places you
everywhere.
have lived in.
When we moved to Peru, Martina was just about
Yeah.
2 months old.
Yeah.
So I spent most of my day inside. The weather was completely different. It was winter time there when we arrived. So I would take her to the park. and Mikele would be, so you didn't meet anybody at the park? I'm like, he didn't understand that in Peru there are a lot of nannies,
Yeah.
and the nannies don't speak to parents.
Yes,
So I
because
had-
they're intimidated.
Yeah, but it's the rule too. It's a
Yeah.
part of the
The
unwritten
unspoken,
rule.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So I had to get a nanny to speak to the other nannies, to interact with, to make friends and interact.
So that the
with
children could meet friends and then your
Right.
parents could become
Exactly,
friends. So
right?
it's always like a technique
Yeah,
and
so
a workaround.
Every place,
But it's
there
hard.
are these underlying rules or unwritten rules that you don't know about that you have to learn the hard way.
Until maybe a year after
Yeah,
you're now learning the
exactly,
rules.
exactly.
And
So-
then you're moving and you're breaking the rules to the new rules.
Right.
Yeah.
So the
So
minute
it's
that you
hard.
have the rules down in one place, we move to another place where the rules completely change.
Yeah.
So yeah, it takes a lot, but if somebody has to do it, right? So okay.
And you know what? In life there is that balance. There is that the joy of travel, and then sometimes the realization and the recognition that this is a little bit insular and it's hard but what do you focus on? The
Yeah.
choice is to always focus on
Exactly,
what's
positive, right?
what's
'Cause I would go to a place and I would see something. Maybe I see a splash of color and I say, "Oh, Judith would love this. I wish I could share this with her, or another friend, or my mom, or my
Yeah.
sister, or somebody." And they
Yeah.
say, "Oh, this person would just adore this. I wish I could share it with them."
Yeah.
So okay, I share it in photos.
Yes.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
there's some things you can't capture even
Yeah.
in best photographs.
Yes.
So those are times you're just like, "Oh, I wish I had more people to share
Yeah.
this with." But
Yeah.
the travel blog comes in really handy.
Yeah,
that way,
yeah. So what's next? I mean, what is next? What is next? You're leaving Trinidad tomorrow. You've had the grandest of times.
Oh, yeah, I stayed away too long.
Yeah.
Just regrettably.
Yeah. So what is next?
Well, for my family, we may be on the move again.
Yeah.
soon.
Yeah.
Maybe on the
We
move
don't have to
again.
reveal anything yet,
Yeah,
but
we
you
may
may
be
be
on-
on the move.
yeah, we
Different country, maybe.
Different country, different continent. This time a different continent.
Wow.
So we're keeping Martina as stable as possible.
Yeah.
On the interim.
Yeah.
Until things are, how they say, all your ducks are lined up. And then when that happens, we will see if the move is going to be a good move for us as a
Yeah.
family.
Yeah.
To make. But the important thing again, we've just moved to Milan just a year ago, so I want to keep her as stable as possible, and then if the move is required, we make the move as a family
Yeah,
together. So
yeah.
there's always going to be something.
Yeah,
So it's
yeah.
gonna be
Well,
something.
I know that I speak for the entire 440 tribe that follows you and just really enjoys your travels because it makes them more courageous. It makes us all. I don't want to take myself away because it makes us all that much more courageous and that much braver to do things that we have buried inside of us, and it's because of that you're doing it.
Oh wow!
So
that's
thank
great.
you.
That's great. And don't be afraid. As I
Yeah.
say, get packing all the time.
Get packing.
Get packing and start small.
Yeah.
Even if you're like intimidated by
Yeah.
the big places and the big countries, start small.
Yeah.
And you would be amazed with confidence that you develop within yourself, because travel is just a journey inward.
Yeah.
It seems outwardly, but it's not.
Yeah.
Because you develop the confidence inside, whether it is to speak to somebody in a foreign language and you just have to use hand signals, and then it happens and the communication works, and then you go, "Oh, I could do this," or it could be any as small as that. Trying a new meal somewhere that you maybe thought you wouldn't like, but
Yeah.
the journey is inward.
Yeah.
And I think that's why people like travel so much, because it's transformative to them inside.
Yeah.
So
It's a beautiful note to end and to enjoy our meal.
yeah.
Buon appetito.
Ciao.